Hey guys, Drifter here. This is me staring at a boat trying to do a graphics comparison until Cross is screaming for help because he can't handle the entire enemy team on him. I am doing a graphics comparison of Call of Duty Blackout today between the PlayStation Regular and the PlayStation 4 Pro, of which there is a significant difference that you'll see later. But in the intro, I just wanted to remind you that I had to record this live in matches with people running around trying to kill me and my teammates, so a few of the comparisons are brief, and more than a few of them are a little bit off in location because of the, well, just kind of craziness of this map and mode. However, there is a very significant and clear difference between the PlayStation and the PlayStation 4 Pro. It immediately increased my playability and made me much better after I upgraded to the Pro. This is Pro gameplay you're seeing right now, but let's jump straight into the comparison with the image you saw in the thumbnail, which is the construction site. This is the construction site on the PlayStation 4 Regular. Doesn't look half bad, but you can immediately see the improvement on PlayStation 4 Pro. Just the resolution just jumped, it spiked right there. Let's go to a still image, and you can see the best looking still that I got of the construction site. Still very visible, you can see what it is, but it's a little bit, I would say, soft. It's a little bit blurry around the edges. It's not quite perfect, but when we take a look at it on the PlayStation 4 Pro, you immediately notice a higher resolution image and much more detail at ranges and depth to the blacks in the game. I do want to point out that I had my field of view slightly different on the PlayStation 4 Pro, or my safe edges, so the zoom is a little bit off, but they do make very, very good comparisons. What is another good comparison is if I zoom in on the parking garage on the left-hand side, you can see it on the regular PlayStation 4 isn't super great looking, very soft, and we're definitely losing details on the rebar as it's being built and on the crane. However, on the PlayStation 4 Pro, way better details, immediately more clear. You can see into the parking lot better, you can see more rebar, you can see more crane. Just, it's like a night and day comparison. The same kind of thing with the main building. The main building looks a little bit blurry, a little bit out of focus, and then on PlayStation 4 Pro, it's just crisp and loaded with details. Moving along, this is the backside of the dam area. Decided to film the backside a little bit to see if I can notice anything about the water or the round structures in the back. And this is one of the areas where the PlayStation 4 Pro didn't make that much of a difference. A little bit higher resolution, but overall not much difference in graphics. I can't say the same thing from the view off the main dam. Here it is on the regular PlayStation 4, and I'm going to swap to the PlayStation 4 Pro in a second. You may not notice it as much in this video, but if you pay attention to the buildings and trees, you'll see that again they are higher resolution and offer a lot more detail. Zooming into the bottom right-hand corner on the regular PlayStation, these are the power lines, and they are kind of a blurry mess. They're not beautiful looking power lines, let's say that. However, on the PlayStation 4 Pro, lots more details. That is the difference between spotting somebody and not spotting somebody. On the exact same image in the top left-hand corner, there's a tiny little shack that people can hide in, surrounded by some trees. And to be fair, I've zoomed in really far on this, but that's kind of a rough-looking image. On the PlayStation 4 Pro, the image is still definitely rough-looking, but way more detail. It would be way easier for me to see an enemy there. Let's take a look at the cargo docks, because that's another one that didn't seem to make too much of a difference. Water doesn't seem to matter, at least between PlayStation and PlayStation 4 Pro. They basically look the same. Can't quite say the same about the factory though. I'm standing outside the factory looking in, and then on the PlayStation 4 Pro also looking in. May not see as much difference at this range. However, if I zoom in on the turbines in the background on the PlayStation 4, compared to the turbines on the PlayStation 4 Pro, there's just no comparison. The Pro is better. Raid is an area where the regular PlayStation just doesn't cut it. So I'm standing at Stronghold looking at Raid, and on the regular PlayStation 4 Pro you can see the trees kind of spaz out and load, and there's a Minecraft tree in the background. On the Pro, the trees don't spaz out, they load in normally, and when I zoom in we have no Minecraft trees. Much, much better overall. I took a screenshot of the regular PlayStation 4 at range, and this is rough. This is not what you want to see in your Battle Royale game. These are just trees scaling down to super, super, super low poly, low resolution to save memory on the console. This type of scenario basically never happened to me on the PlayStation 4 Pro, but it did happen occasionally on the PlayStation Regular. And last up today, we're going to take a look at Nuketown. Nuketown on the PlayStation 4 is a little bit hazy looking, but on the Pro we get a lot more clarity overall despite being in an identical location. So my initial impressions the very minute that I booted the game up was that the PlayStation 4 Pro looks better and is way more playable. It was a noticeable improvement right off the bat. I was immediately much more happy. There were also noticeable improvements to the frame rate, resolution, anti-aliasing, and everything that I'm just about to go over in detail. So the number one thing I noticed is that overall visibility is much better. It's just an easier to play game. It's easier to spot enemies. There's less jagged edges, less motion blur, overall cleaner looking image, or less hazy, I would say. Blackout kind of has that old like MW2, MW3 hazy, foggy kind of effect going on. I think it saves the system some bandwidth and some capacity. I also suspect that my resolution increased. Now, I'm not recording this in 4K on the PlayStation 4 Pro. I capped my resolution at 1080p so that I can put all the rest of the processing toward the game. And I suspect that on my regular PlayStation, it was about 900p, and on my Pro, it should have been a proper 1080p. And I also suspect that we got some real anti-aliasing on my 1080p because there were less jagged edges. Better render distances in general, too. Let's say the range at which things are visible didn't change, which is technically what the render distance is, but the visibility of objects at range, their clarity, their resolution, and how good they looked was significantly improved on the PlayStation 4 Pro. My frame rate also increased. On the regular PlayStation, I was running about 50 FPS for most of the time. Surprisingly stable on my old PlayStation. FPS didn't dip very much. It did dip a little bit, and I didn't really notice the frame rate. I got used to it, but when I swapped to the Pro, I did notice the 10 FPS more. We're running a solid 60 FPS on PlayStation 4 Pro, and it was more stable on the Pro. It did, of course, dip, but less so than the original PlayStation. Load-in times to the map were much faster. This also includes loot load-in times and some of the object or vehicle load-in times. And one odd one on this is that it had better audio. For whatever reason, my old PlayStation wasn't playing footstep sounds, like, at all, through my optical out cable. When I'd listen back to my recorded footage of the HDMI output, the footstep audio was pretty clear. However, on my optical out to my headsets, it was very, very muffled and difficult to hear. On the PlayStation 4 Pro, that just got better. I think this is a glitch or some kind of bug that old PlayStations aren't playing footsteps properly. On a side note, I don't know why my teammates are all elephants and the enemies might as well just have, like, feather feet, but I was able to hear enemies' footsteps way, way, way better on the Pro, and I could hear my teammates all the way across the map almost. The effect of this on my gameplay was very significant. My gameplay just instantly got better. For those of you that have been watching me play in stream, you should know, you should have seen it last night. When I started out on the PlayStation 4, I was going about 2 to 3 kills per game, maybe 4 or 5 if I was doing good. And then last night playing on the Pro, I jumped up to 5 to 10 almost instantly. And the reason for that is just that I could see enemies better. I could just see the map better, and that just increased the playability or ease of play of the game. So my final thoughts on this are pretty simple, and that's that the PlayStation 4 Pro will not make Blackout into a beautiful game. Blackout, by its nature, on an old engine, coming out hot and fresh in beta, is not going to be a pretty Call of Duty experience. It's a good Call of Duty experience. This is a very fun, refreshing battle royale. The gameplay is great. It's still a bit on the ugly side. However, upgrading from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 4 Pro does make a big difference. It does make the map prettier, but not pretty in general, and it significantly increases your playability. You will just be able to play the game more and enjoy it more. There will be less glitches, less not being able to spot people, less weird blurry things, and I think you'll have a better time. The question then, is it worth it for you to upgrade your PlayStation for this game mode? In my case, I would have said no. I can do that because I'm a YouTuber and I can justify that I'll make some money back on this video or the little unboxing video that I did on Twitter, but in general, I personally would not upgrade my console for one game. However, there's lots and lots of games that are wanting upgrades. I would have put the money toward a PC. I would go PC. I'm mostly a PC gamer now and a bit less so on console. That's just my personal opinions. I'm kind of cheap. I don't even buy skins in games. I don't buy accessories. I just kind of penny pinch and hoard. But that's me. If you're really serious about Call of Duty and really serious about Blackout and this is the mode you want to play, PlayStation 4 Pro is better. Guys, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.
Hotel Sierra.